How is everybody doing? Welcome. It's Sunday afternoon. It's kind of lovely. It's a nice 60-ish degrees. I feel very sorry for the states that are suffering from snow right now. Yes, there are several states in North America, or the United States to be exact, that are now being hit with snow in the middle of October. It's quite serious. So, sorry for you people that are suffering from that. But I noticed an article here by the Mary Sue that I just had to touch on. So here's the headline. Not only are the new Star Wars films better than the prequels, they might be better than the originals. Oh, that's a pretty strong argument you're trying to make here. Let's go ahead and take a look at this because the prequels, not the most loved set of movies. I understand. They have many flaws, but I would argue that they're still better than the new movies, especially Revenge of the Sith, which I think is a pretty good movie. I like Revenge of the Sith. I think it's a decent flick. I have got some strong takes on the prequel trilogy. I think personally they would have been better off if they had started the trilogy at Clone Wars, had Revenge of the Sith be the middle arc, and then do something with Darth Vader for the third one, and then, the Jedi in hiding. I think that would have been a little bit more interesting because Phantom Menace sucked. Phantom Menace was terrible. If you could just found a way to make that a little bit better. But anyway, that's just my opinion. I'm sure a lot of people will disagree with me in the comments. That's fine. That's what it's all about, baby, is freedom of your opinion. Just like the Mary Sue here has a freedom to their own opinion. But it's also our right to go ahead and destroy it. So I saw this, and before I even read it, before I even sat down to read the article, I said, what are the points they're going to make? Let me guess. That the new films are headed up by women and that they're diverse.
No shit.
You knew it was going to be a reason. It's the Mary Sue. Why are they making this article in the first place? Well, the biggest reason is because CNET, a mainstream media site, came out with an article and admitted that the prequels are better than the new movies. I have to agree. I think the movies are very flawed, the new ones. The only one I think that was actually pretty good is Rogue One. Now, one of the problems with the new movies and saying that they're better than the old ones, particularly the original trilogy, is Force Awakens is a carbon copy of A New Hope. How can it be better than a movie it's trying to emulate hard? It's a copy. It's a copy of that movie. Last Jedi, not even really going to talk about because it's been beaten to death. It's not a very good movie in my opinion, and I think it did a lot of damage to the Star Wars brand. But let's go ahead and let's take a look at some of the arguments here. Now, the first bit, we got 3 paragraphs here. All they do is kind of just give opinionated takes on the CNET article. Now, we got to go down here to get the reasons why the new movies are better. So let's start there. Let's start here to why. What's her name here? Jessica Mason thinks that the new movies are better. And I think that you're going to see that they're full of NPC hot takes. So, the new Star Wars films, including Rogue One and Solo, get back to the solid, real filmmaking and fun, complex characters that made the first Star Wars trilogy great. And instead of sucking the life out of the myth and majesty of the originals, the way the prequels do, they all improve on it. How is that? By literally carbon copying A New Hope with Force Awakens? Very complex narrative you're telling there by completely ripping off the movie. So, apparently they improve on the original trilogy and its characters who are just pretty much used as plot devices and murdered throughout the movies. Han Solo, his death was stupid. She actually tries to use that up at the top where it talks about like how there's no major deaths apparently in the CNET article. They point that out. And she says, what about Han Solo? Everyone knew Han Solo was going to get taken out in that movie. They really just did it because I'm pretty sure one of the only reasons that Harrison Ford came back was because he wanted Han Solo to get taken out. I think everyone agrees on that. He wanted it to happen in Return of the Jedi. It didn't happen. So I think he came back to get that done finally. That's just my theory. But anyway. Says, Freddie Prinze Jr. just reminded us, who also came out with a big rant, are literal archetypes straight out of Joseph Campbell. They're great, but ultimately simple. He's talking about the original trilogy characters. People like simple, by the way, so... And then she says that's fine. But the characters of these new films are far more complex and interesting. Even the old characters have grown up and advanced in complexity. Everyone in the new films is more morally ambiguous and rebellious. One might say better. A couple of things here. How is Rey complex and interesting? All right. She literally is the definition of the name of your website, a Mary Sue. Everything she touches, she can do. She gets on the Millennium Falcon. I can fly it. I can run the whole ship. I can pilot this. I can do this. She literally, let's compare and contrast Luke Skywalker, Jedi Knight, and friend of Captain Solo. Let's go ahead and compare the two real quick. And this has been done a million times. Luke Skywalker can barely use the Force in the first Star Wars movie. Rey can already Jedi mind trick people and wield a lightsaber pretty good. Can also fly the Millennium Falcon. Luke can fly things too. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to square those two together. But as far as Force abilities, Rey is already up there with like Padawan, been a Padawan for years compared to Luke. Let's go ahead and take two movies into account. The Last Jedi. And let's look at the two characters here. Now, here's the difference, though. The Empire Strikes Back and Force Awakens, a couple of years had passed between the two movies. Now, that's not the same thing with Last Jedi and Force Awakens. Those literally pick up right after one another. So, here's kind of the funny thing. In the same kind of time period of one span movie, Rey can already lift rocks. You know, she can already do all kinds of stuff in a quicker time than Luke Skywalker. Because Luke Skywalker could barely lift his lightsaber during Empire Strikes Back. He could barely lift rocks. It took him years to get to that level. And he had to be trained by Yoda. Rey was able to do it all with barely any training. She got 2 lessons from Luke Skywalker, and she's lifting boulders. So I just want to point that out. She literally is a Mary Sue. She's fighting a guy that had massive training from Luke Skywalker, Ben Solo, and kills Snoke. So, come on. Don't tell me that she's not a Mary Sue. And don't say she's more complex and interesting. She hasn't done anything interesting for 2 movies now. The most interesting thing she did was interact with Luke Skywalker. Anyway, now let's get to what the real argument is. I'm sorry it took so long to get here, but this just irritated me. But here we go. You ready for this? Here's a big reason why they're better. These 3 paragraphs here are the reasons why these are better than the original trilogy. You ready? And they're not a majority white and male. Yes, we're going there. The diversity and progressive ideals of the new Star Wars films place them miles above the originals and the prequels. There's more than one woman. There's more than one person of color. These women and people of color have agency, and they don't just die of a broken heart or serve as plot devices or love interests. The whole point of the new trilogy is how important a diverse and democratic force is.
You went full retard, man. Never go full retard.
Now, I'll give you the dying of a broken heart thing. That was kind of stupid. But how are you going to compare? Okay, so they're going to... Who's the major player now in the new one? Finn? Okay, or that stupid pilot? I can't even remember his name. What is his name? Poe Dameron? What does he do in the movies? Nothing. But apparently, because he's just there, just him being there makes the movie better. All of a sudden, it's way better. He has more impact than Samuel Jackson. He has more impact than Lando Calrissian. Okay. Okay. Right. Do you see how these people judge entertainment? How do these people read books? I mean, you can't see anybody in the books. It's kind of ambiguous. So, I mean, I don't think these people read at all. Like, there's no funny little pictures or anything. I mean, how do you get through books? Like, you can't get those checkbox quotas in a book, really. So how do you people read them? It's just so weird to me. How do people just being in a movie make it better? There's nothing there that makes it more substantial or better. It's literally just visual representation, but apparently this makes the film better than the original trilogy. Even though the prequel trilogy had somebody like Samuel L. Jackson, who I would argue did way more for POC than just having some dumb pilot or Finn run around being a clown. All right, sure thing. So then they go on to say, nostalgia is very kind to the original trilogy. It's kind to everything. But we can love something, and believe me, I do love the old films, and appreciate its flaws. Nostalgia, however, has never been kind to the prequels. There has been some sort of fandom Stockholm syndrome at work for a discerning viewer to think that the basic filmmaking of the new movies isn't better than something that's come into the past. But it's probably just the same anger we see from all sorts of Star Wars fans when they're confronted by the fact that the franchise doesn't just belong to white boys anymore. That's all this is. All right, I'm done with this article. I've already made this video way longer than I originally had wanted it to be. But I end up getting ranting because these people just irritate me. These people know the new movies are trash. They don't care about Star Wars. They don't care about anything they infect. All they want to do is just, yeah, we stuck it to those dumb old men. We took another thing they love and ruined it. We just want to take it all and, we got to have female He-Man. We got to have female Oceans 11. We got to have female Ninja Turtles. We got to have female Mortal Kombat. Like, everything has to be changed. We don't have original ideas anymore. No, what we're going to do is make female Conan. Female Conan the Barbarian. Let's just make everything. Let's just change everything. Let's we're going to make James Bond a woman. And they hail it. This is so great. Look at the reviews for Joker and Batwoman from the same types of people that wrote this article. Critics, in quotations. Critics. Right? Batwoman is sitting at a critic score in the high 70s. Joker is under the 70s. You want the real opinions to what people really think, you look at the audience scores. You see the Joker's in the 90s, almost to 100. Batwoman is sitting at like a 7. These people just sit here and they love defending these films literally because there's representation in them. That automatically makes them masterpieces. Doesn't matter about plot, doesn't matter about, character types, any of that stuff. All that matters is, did it hit those checkboxes? Did it hit those checkboxes? Did it? Give it an Oscar. These people have literally sucked the soul out of entertainment, and they're never going to stop. They've already ruined Star Trek. They've already ruined Star Wars. They're slowly creeping their way into anime now. That's going to be a hard one for them to get. It will. But they'll get there. I think they'll eventually ruin that too. So, I don't know. I thought this was one of the dumbest articles I've ever seen. And it really irritated me. It really did. You're going to literally say that these movies are better because they're more progressive and have better representation. So that automatically makes them better than the original trilogy. GTFO. Anyway, like and subscribe, hit that notification bell, share the video, make sure you're still subscribed, leave some comments, all that good stuff, and I'll talk to you guys on the next one. Peace.